So good morning or good night, depending where you are in the world. And welcome to another episode of Is It That Bad? And a very special episode, because this episode, at least for the people on this part of the world, this Sunday is Father's Day. So this episode is sponsored by the Dad, the Dad Rocks Bangers playlist that I found online. I'm kidding. I found this, it's hilarious, this playlist. I'm just going to show the playlist. I think, here's the playlist. So
yeah.
the playlist, if you see, it starts with Lips of an Angel by Hinder. And
Worst vocals.
Divorced Dad Rock Bangers. And look at this guy. Apparently, this is what a divorced dad would look like.
I can see that you're subscribed to this playlist.
Yeah. No, I'm not subscribed to the playlist, but I was listening to it. But you know what? It does have a few bangers. There's some Nickelback.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it has Addicted by Saving Abel, which I know Hector hates.
Oh, yeah. I didn't like that. It has some, it's bangers. So, yeah. So, Couchers who are fathers, happy Father's Day. We have three of us are fathers on the panel. So joining me for this episode. Oh, I haven't said what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So we're talking, you know what? We're actually talking about a band that I think the band could categorize as that rock. Divorced dad,
yep,
if you will. So it's a band.
Pre-divorced dad rock.
Divorced dad rock. And this band is Star Supernova. So a little bit of background on this. There was a show, the first season had In Excess. You know, when Michael Hutchins died, the band then did a show to get a replacement. And this was the second season. The only difference, In Excess was a band that people knew. But for this second season, Rockstar Supernova, you had coming. This is the third time Tommy Lee is on this program. Well, he's been covered. So Tommy Lee from Motley Crue,
Generation Swine, the Canceled EP, Methods of Mayhem, and this.
This is the fourth episode.
Oh my God, this is the fourth episode that Tommy Lee.
Yeah, that was my note. That was my note on the start of it.
And we have Gilby Clarke of Guns N' Roses, and I'm ashamed to say Jason Newsted of Metallica.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Was a part of. And we are covering this one because a few weeks ago I guess I could call it an interview.
There was something.
It was something. So the guy who won this contest, his name is Lucas Rossi, and I actually had him on the channel. And before we recorded, he asked me about this album. He asked me, and I hadn't listened to this album in years, and I just remember one song. But the one song that I remember is the one that he apparently wrote, so he was happy about that. So it got to me to the idea. I'm like, I hadn't listened to this in a while. And it's interesting album to cover because you have people from bands that are very popular coming together to find a live singer on TV, and the music that came out of it, it's generic at best. So I went to to see the reviews for this to see if it had mixed reviews, but honestly, it mostly had negative reviews. But it charted number 4 in Canada.
Canadians.
Well, we don't have Nick here to.
You can't defend it. Sorry, Nick. You'll be in the comments, won't you?
He'll be in the comments defending Canada. So it's an interesting one. So we have returning, we have Chile from Live Listening Race, back from what it seemed to be like a whole month in Europe.
Yes. Yeah, I spent a month in Europe, so I've been disconnected, I guess, a little bit to the music world. But I'm glad to be back on Is It That Bad? Because I'm feeling like an Aussie reporter in LA because I'm sure I'll be targeted by someone before this clip finishes. What's in your couch, Hector?
What?
What's in your couch, Hector, by the way?
But I'm happy you asked that. I have this scoop here. Uh, and that's it. No, there's no pizza yet on my couch.
No pizza?
Oh,
No-
No
man.
Fruit Loops?
Yeah, and no condoms. No. Yeah.
Maybe
Pull
some
that
spare
game weak,
change,
y'all.
though.
So we have Chile returning, and Chile, like I remember, I was watching you in Europe. And I'm like, this man has been gone like for a month. It's like lifestyles of the rich and famous.
Oh,
Like
God.
so
Good, Charlotte. Here we go.
so we have Chile returning for Is It That Bad? We have Rock of All Ages. He wanted to be on this one as well. So Rock of All Ages, how are you, man?
I'm doing okay.
Man, sometimes your enthusiasm, like
I'm full of surprises.
you're full of surprises. And
He's the paradox, man.
rounding up the panel, we have JC Rock and Metal Reviews. How are you, JC?
I'm doing good. Thanks.
Good. So
Yeah.
yes, so you know the drill, people. We have the 3 rounds. On the first round, we give our first impressions of when we listen to this, and also we can give our impressions if we watch the show. And the second, we're gonna pick. I dare say we can pick 4 from this one. I have 4 picks, so if you guys want to pick 4, you can pick 4. And the third and final round, we will give it our final thoughts and rating, and we'll vote thumbs up, thumbs sideways, or thumbs down. So yeah, let's start with Chile, then Rock of All Ages, then we'll do JC, then me. So Chile, your first impressions of Rockstar Supernova.
Yeah. So as mentioned before, of course, we brought to attention that this is the 4th episode of Is It That Bad, where we are talking about Tommy Lee, which I just think is phenomenal. It says a lot about the artist and the music that he writes, doesn't it? I guess. By the way, we haven't touched on his solo material yet, so still could be a 5th episode in there. But yeah, this episode is unusual, I guess, because of the history, surrounding the band, its formation. Technically, it's a super group because you got a bunch of really famous musicians from all, corners of various music realms, coming together and just trying to find a lead singer. So it's kind of a super group in a reality TV show format where, 16 contestants were chosen and they knocked them out, what is it, week by week? I don't know. I only watched like 2 episodes of this before tuning out. But it's very, very weird at the end of the day. And this is like just when reality show was still a bit new as well. People didn't know kind of how it was going to come about and what was going to come from the future, I guess. So for those who are, of course, unaware, there is 2 aspects to this one. Obviously, anyone on this panel can select an album for an Is It That Bad, but there is also the reality TV show that was a factor for making of this album. I only saw a little bit of clips, as I mentioned before. Yeah, so I guess, with the TV show, I did watch it, as I mentioned before. It just wasn't very memorable. I just remember tuning out and just going, nah, I don't like it. I don't care for it at the time. And, that's, I guess, what it was. It was just a very dull kind of TV show that just went through the motions, So anyway, when it came to it at the end of the day, this really piqued my interest because, it was a bizarre concept. And it was just very interesting to see how this band, I guess, formed. The music itself, it wasn't bad. It just, you listen to it and you kind of forget about it. This is the thing about the whole album. You'd play it, you could forget about it in an hour. And it just kind of didn't leave a mark on me at the end of the day. There isn't massive standout tracks on here, but I guess more on that a bit later.
Yeah, good initial thoughts, Chile. So what about you, Rock of All Ages?
I never watched the show. Sorry to say, or maybe fortunately, I don't know how
Not
bad it
missing
was.
out.
Okay. The first I ever heard of Lucas Rossi was when he featured on a 3 Days Grace song in 2022. Then I forgot about him until his interview with Hector. And Hector was saying to me privately afterwards, man, we got to talk about this album for Is It That Bad? And I never heard of his show or his band. So I went and researched Star Supernova. Gilby, Clarke, and Jason Newsted did not deserve the crap that they got from their respective bands. And they certainly did not deserve to work with Tommy Lee. Uh, as for the actual album, it isn't the worst album that we've talked about on Is It That Bad, but it is brought down by we mentioned it's like three guys from popular bands looking for a lead singer, and this album definitely sounds like three competent musicians and a guy they found on a reality TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah, good one, man. So good initial first thoughts for A Couple Ages. So what about you, JC?
Okay, for some reason I never watched a show, and I never heard of it until you told me about it. I mean, one day you told me you interviewed Lucas Rossi, and I had no idea who this guy was. Now, I don't know why I never knew about this. Back then in 2006, I was living in the US, so I probably should have. I was watching a lot of American Idol. I remember that. But other
Oh,
than
God.
that, I never watched it. So I listened to this album the first time today, and I thought it was kind of just all over the place. I thought they were trying different styles. No, there wasn't really any cohesion. It was kind of bland. It wasn't really memorable, and I think they were just trying too many different styles, so you couldn't really tell what kind of band like they wanted to be. And I think that was probably the biggest problem with that. So when we get to the next round, we'll talk more about songs, but I think they're trying to do too many different things, and really like there was really not a lot of cohesion on the album. So that's all for now. Yeah.
Okay, so that leaves my first impressions. I actually did watch this when it came out, but it was 22 episodes. I'm like, oh my God, 22 episodes. I'm like,
Holy crap.
at the time watching that, and this was my first thought when I watched that at the time. You mean to tell me Jason Newsted left Metallica for this shit?
Oh, yeah, he did.
But, after Metallica, because Echo Brain, actually, if you haven't listened to Echo Brain, it's some cool alternative rock music. I really some of the stuff that they did, and he played with Boybot and Ozzy, but it was weird for him in a reality show because Jason Newsted was like a private guy. He's not Tommy Lee. He's not like, hey, I can steer the boat with my third arm. It's like that's not Jason Newsted. And Clarke is the lesser known guitar player for Guns N' Roses. Come on. Like
Yeah.
the replacement. So Gilby Clarke is basically a hired gun, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Gilby Clarke, but you're not Slash. And
Kind of a glorified studio musician.
exactly. But Newsted, like I was very surprised. This and Tommy Lee, I wasn't surprised because Tommy Lee, he's like he'll do anything. He'll do anything. And
You're surprised by Tommy Lee in this situation?
I didn't get stories because that wasn't a paid interview.
Yeah, damn paid interviews. So he hid behind a paywall.
I'm like, what? I'm like, what the hell do you want me to pay you, man? Like,
Smiles?
but so I had no Tommy Lee stories. Boo-hoo. That was the only reason I wanted to talk.
Yeah, because it's not like we can't get Tommy Lee stories off the internet.
Yeah, it's not like we can't get Tommy Lee. So my first impression, but you know what? I remember I did buy this album when it came out back in, it was 2006. And
Yeah.
I lost it somewhere and it had been out of my mind. I only remember one song. and it's Headspin, and it's
Mm.
because Lucas Rossi did like 3 other versions of that track. There's Headspin 2, Headspin 3, and
Oh, jeez.
I almost told him in the interview, how about Headspin 4? Start spinning.
What is it, like his version of Metallica's Unforgiven?
I was just about to make that reference. Because, like, again, Jason Newsted was in the band.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the only song that I remember, but I didn't remember any other song. So it was like when I started listening to them, I was like, oh yeah, it started coming back to me. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I know why I forgot this, because this is generic music to a T. You know that it's a band that formed on TV. There's no real chemistry whatsoever when I listen to this. To me, it sounds like this guy singing karaoke songs with these free musicians sometimes. That's what it sounds like to me sometimes. So those are my first impressions of Rockstar Supernova. And on the show, there was one singer who was actually from Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Yeah, and actually she was bad, but I think she insulted them that she never heard anything of their music.
Oh, no.
But if she watches this, like, let's talk about your experience. So, yeah, that was my first impressions. Re-listening to it, it was I had forgotten completely about this album until I was told to interview him. I'm like, oh yeah, remember that show? But yeah, those are my first impressions. So let's go to round 2, where we pick 3 or 4 songs. So Chili, what songs did you pick and why?
I've got to ask, first of all, you lost the CD, but have you checked the couch for it? That's probably the first place I'll be looking.
This couch was my girlfriend's first, so I will be here.
Let's take a moment to appreciate that Hector has bought and lost 2 albums by Tommy Lee side projects. Because he said he also got Methods of Mayhem on vinyl.
Oh, vinyl and on CD.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe you bought Methods of Mayhem. Oh, well, no harm done, people. Worst songs as far as this album is concerned. First one I'm going to be picking is Can't Bring Myself to Light the Fuse. You know about this. I got this very simple view about ballads at the end of the day. You know, they are extremely polarizing. Either I love the song or I hate it. It's very simple. There's just no gray area when it comes to ballads for me. You know, either it reaches the highs or say, you know, it makes it worthy of an epic akin to Every Rose Has Its Thorn by Poison. They just fall short and land in the bowl somewhere in a public toilet.
Brandon.
Like someone who ate Taco Bell trying to reach, you know, the bathroom in time, I guess. But hey, the song is so pedestrian and basic in this structure, and it's just over the top in the vocal performance for what the song is actually doing. It feels like it's just unsure what it is trying to achieve. Then they throw in some unnecessary string sections, which really confuses everything, and it has more layers than a wedding cake. If this tune was purely acoustic and the vocals were performed without the intense energy as present, it actually might be a different beast and a song that I might find okay. But alas, like a shit-filled pair of underwear, I would discard of this song. The next track that I have is going to be Social Disgrace. Reality TV is always blamed as nothing but cookie-cutter crap, but this song just breaks the fourth wall in doing so, I felt. The intro riff was ripped straight out of Rage Against the Machine and their song People of the Sun, except they added a cowbell just to make it different. And also they replaced the most complacent... They wrote the most complacent dumb fuck lyrics you could ever imagine within this tune. It just seems to be a commentary on the band's existence to a degree. To quote the lyrics here, follow my head through a chain of events where I'm a fly on the wall in a circus of freaks. This place is so devil being lit up like matches and I can't blow it out and it's torturing me. You put yourself in that environment. The fuck are you digging for? Sympathy? guess I guess only the devil deserves it, you know, at the end of the day. So, you know, speaking of it as well, the devil, this place is so devil. That was the actual lyric in the song. What? So devil? A masterful command of the English language right there. It's truly impeccable. But don't you think there was another word that could achieve the same outcome of describing the current situation that you are in? Oh, I don't know. The word evil, for example. You were right there. You were so close. Like a toddler trying to push a square peg through a circle hole, except you couldn't let go of the D. Social disgrace, I guess it's more like a comprehension disgrace. And the last track I have, I've only got 3 here, was Headspin. Does anyone remember this song? Like, I know Hector does. I know Hector does.
You make my head spin. What?
When you suggest, actually, I gotta say here, when you suggested doing this episode, I hadn't seen your interview yet, and I wrote these notes before I watched the interview. So, besides Hector, does anyone actually remember this song? Good, because I don't. It's unremarkable to me, and that's the best part about this song. Rockstar Supernova, you make me forget, and that's a special talent.
Headspin. You know that when I was interviewing him at first, I thought that maybe Headspin was about him being drunk. Or
Maybe it was on cocaine instead.
it's a heard about his mother. So
What? He
I've
wrote
heard
about his mother?
the song is about his mother.
Right.
What about her?
How does that factor into the lyrics of that song?
She made his head spin. I don't know.
Seems some Freudian shit right there.
Is this like Alive by Pearl Jam?
Please,
Oh,
do not compare Alive by Pearl Jam to head spin.
no. Alive wasn't done 3 more times.
Well, wasn't that song part of a trilogy?
Alive? Or,
Yeah, there was like a trilogy of Pearl Jam songs about like the character.
oh, I can't.
Oh, hang on. You might be right. Elderly woman behind a counter in a.
No, there
Fuck,
was like
that's okay.
Alive and Once and then some other song.
Hang on, I got to Google it over this side here. The Legend of the Mama Son trilogy. Okay, that is pretty messed up. Alive, Once, and Footsteps are apparently the trilogy.
Mhm.
I stand corrected. They're a part of a trilogy, according to the internet, who is a great source.
But head spin is just the same song 3 times with some different lyrics and it's different chords, but it's the same song 3 times. I think on the interview, why did you do this song so many times?
Remastered edition, remixed by 9 Inch Nails.
It's his most famous track. So yeah, so good pick, Chili. Rock of Ages. What songs did you pick and why?
I did pick 4 songs. My first pick is Make No Mistake, This Is the Take. But I didn't have anything written about it. It's just, I guess it just goes in one ear and out the other.
That was his take, by the way.
Yeah. The next song I picked is The Dead Parade. This album, fun fact, came out a month after The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance.
Oh, jeez.
The nerve of these guys. Yeah. And the next song I picked, my next 2 songs are ones that Chili already mentioned. Social Disgrace. The vocals in the verses are especially horrendous. And I wonder if that was intentional for a song called Social Disgrace. If so, mission accomplished. And then worst song on the album, Can't Bring Myself to Like This Fuse. Tommy Lee should have told Lucas Rossi that some people just aren't suited for ballads. Like, I should know, man. I made Brandon.
Oh, my son.
Oh, my son, Brandon.
Father's Day. Play Brandon for Father's Day, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna play that fucking song for Father's Day. So
No, you'll play the light the fuse instead.
no. So JC, Which songs did you pick, man?
All right, I'll start with Underdog. So I'm listening to this. The first thing, it sounds like Motley Crue at first, with that like just guitar riff, is like the bluesy guitar riff, and then he starts singing, and it sounds like he's trying to sound like Ozzy Osbourne or something like that. It just got really light during the chorus, so it was kind of weird. And then, I mean, during the first verse, and then on the chorus, it kind of sounds like Cheap Trick or something like that. And they mentioned like the word Cheap Trick in the chorus for some reason. So it was one of those songs where it went all over the place. I didn't really know what they were trying to do with it. My next one is going to be Make No Mistake. This is the take. I thought he was trying to be like this dark industrial song, like trying to be Marilyn Manson or something like that. That's what I got from it. It was just one of those songs. And let's see what else I can pick. But the song Headspin, I don't remember that song from back in the day. I know you guys said it was popular.
Justification, everyone.
Yeah, but it was I thought his vocals, he was trying to like sound like the Deftones. I thought like he was trying to like be Chino Moreno like at one part of the song. That's what I got from it. And I think the last one, The Dead Parade, it sounds like he's trying to sound like Muse, but it has these weird drums and the chorus, it's saying like, well, welcome to the Dead Parade, and it just makes me think too much of Welcome to the Black Parade, like we're just saying they came out around the same time. So like you can't really like separate those two because of that. But otherwise, that's all. That's my four. Yeah.
Okay. So I also can't bring myself to like these views because the vocals, it's like, I'm broken, I'm deadly. I'm like, this is some of the most pussiest lyrics. And I had him, I could have told him. But, like,
if only you didn't lose that CD, you really could have listened to it a bit more before the interview.
well, you know what? Maybe when they were writing, Tommy Lee went like, hey, Lucas, throwing a Brandon, my son,
Never fails.
in there. Yeah, and it's like so over the top. It almost sounds like it would be like a tune for a bad Disney teen movie or something like that. Yeah, it's just very melodramatic. And like me, if I like a good power ballad, for example, Love Bites by Def Leppard.
Mm-hmm.
Love bites. Yeah.
I like Wind of Change by Scorpions.
Yes.
I like Rain in Blood by Slayer.
Raining Blood. Getting an alert. Hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. You just cut out for a second.
Yes, I got an emergency alert of something that's happening. It's from
Don't worry, it's only a tidal wave coming your way.
it's Lucas Rossi trying to
Yeah, Lucas Rossi's flying over. He knows that we're recording. Tommy Lee's in suit. You're talking shit about Brandon?
It's going to be hilarious when it comes out. People be like, what the fuck? I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
emergency alert.
Yeah, they're pretty funny.
They're pretty. So where were we? We were talking about, okay, like, yeah, that song is so over the top, so melodramatic. So, you know, when a good power ballad, the other one, I would say like songs like Extreme, More Than Words, Love Is On The Way, those are good ballads, but it's pure shit. So I also picked the Dead Parade because it's almost like a Wish version from the Black Parade from my Chemical. It's just a blatant ripoff. And when I was listening to a lot of tracks on this record, I thought every song tries to sound like a band, different band. And I was thinking, maybe it's because when the contestant did the show, he had to sing songs from different bands. And I don't know if they recorded it that way. Because it does sound like that karaoke. So Dead Parade is bad. The other one I picked that no one has picked this song Be Yourself and 5 other cliches. So it's a
Oh
hey,
fuck yeah.
ho, ho, ho. What
Honestly, I did kind of like that one.
oh,
I mean, I'm not going to say it's a good song, but I think it's one of the better songs on the album.
ah,
Why?
I think it's so atrocious. Uh, and the final one,
Oh.
You Make My Head Spin.
It's been-
Why? I don't know. Yes, it's just like when I listen to it, I'm like, why did this dude record 3 versions of this song? Uh, if you see my interview, I think he said that he loved that song, or it's one of his most popular. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a weird song, and the way that he's very melodramatic when he's singing, and I
Yeah,
think
he is.
as well he like in my interview he mentioned cocaine 3 times because if you mention 3 times it shall appear.
Kind of reminds me of Justin Hawkins. Like, I was listening to him and going, man, this guy definitely did a Justin Hawkins back in the day. Like,
Yeah,
from the darkness.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, I was talking about the cocaine side of things.
Oh, that one. Okay.
yeah. But he's got a cool YouTube channel. So yes,
Yes, he does.
pick some different songs. So you see how this album can be polarizing. So now let's go to the third and final round, where we give our final thoughts and we vote thumbs up, sideways, or down. Sheely, your final thoughts.
Final thoughts are always like the fun. Here we go. Final thoughts, everyone. Getting the signature thing in. A bit of a story here when I was talking about this album. I was actually picking up my child thing up one afternoon, and I forgot I was listening to this album. So when I got back into my car, obviously the album started up, and she started dancing to the song. Sorry for that. You deserve much better, and there are much better songs out there you can dance to. So that's on me as a father. I should have just protected her from this. My bad.
Song,
But, hey,
which song was your daughter dancing to?
probably headspin. She makes my head spin.
Just go back to playing her Creedence Clearwater Revival.
I was going to say, luckily though, I corrected this the next day because I decided to play a little bit of Korn's Got the Life, and wow, she danced a lot more than she did the day prior. Oh my gosh. But I guess back to the album, and this whole experience just feels forced. I mean, you're talking about a band that came together out of, I don't even know why, contractual obligations maybe, that went onto a reality TV show to pick this weird singer out of the blue there, and just like, all right, shit, now we have to record an album, and I don't even know. It's like all these songs clearly were recorded at different sections, and you can hear it because there is no definitive style on this album. And then obviously, Lucas comes in, does his parts on the vocals, and he's got something to prove, so he's gonna over deliver, I guess, if that's really one way to describe it. And sometimes as a vocalist, you have to realize when to rein it in, and Lucas doesn't do that throughout the entire album. So interesting as well. No one discussed this, I don't think, but the band actually had to change their name very last minute due to a lawsuit from the original band Supernova, which was a ska punk band. They were originally going to be called Supernova, but they had to change their name to Rockstar Supernova. So just throwing in that one there for you guys. But yeah, it just feels like this whole experience and the band itself is inorganic, for the band to come together in these circumstances. And while some experienced a boost in their careers for a short period, with Lucas, for example, it showed that the rest of the band was kind of a bunch of has-beens, pushing them further down the ladder with this whole ordeal. And, the only one I really feel sorry for is Jason at the end of the day. Jason claims that he took the role due to it being an interesting concept. I don't know who approached him for this, but obviously they did a good sales pitch. And, I've got a feeling he kind of took it because of the payday. We mentioned he wasn't obviously in Metallica anymore, so he wasn't earning Metallica money. And he also did Echo Brain, which was a bit of a failed launch of his new career. It didn't really do too much. You know, Echo Brain, they were around for a couple of years and then just faded out into existence. So, you know, this, for Jason anyway, this whole experience feels like a blip in his career. No one is running back to this record. No one is playing the singles. No one remembers the band. And you can tell this because they only get about 3,000 monthly listeners over at Spotify. So I'm not alone in saying that no one cares for this record. The band tries to come across as these bad boys of rock and roll, but forget that they were created in a TV studio by a bunch of execs who would consider Def Leppard as a heavy metal band, and they really missed the mark. They should have leaned more into their background a little bit more. You know, just owned it. Like, yeah, we were created in a TV show. We could have just done so much more different if they did so. It would have been interesting, I guess, if they could have done the audio equivalent of The Matrix with their lyrics, I guess. And, you know, it would have been pretty cool if they did that to a degree. But I'm not going to shit on a bunch of has-beens forever. It's
Well, they
not
already
a
did the Matrix thing of like the shitty sequels.
Yeah, the
Because
shitty
they
sequels
did
of the
keep
songs.
re-recording Headspin, as we said.
Yeah. Trying to flog this dead horse. You watch, it'll come out 19 years later, Headspin 4, just like the Matrix 4. Everyone forgot that exists. Look, it's not a horrible album, but it's just a very unremarkable one. Absolutely nothing stands out to me on here, but it's not an abhorrent mess either. Thumb sideways.
Nice. So we got our first vote, some sideways. What about you, Rockafellages?
I'm going to do the complete opposite of Chile and make this short. This album isn't terrible, but it really, really needed a better singer. Thumbs down.
I won't tell him where you live, man.
I appreciate that.
Well, I think he's in Florida now, so it's.
Oh, you could not pay me to go to
that makes
Florida.
fucking sense. That makes fucking sense.
You cannot pay me to go to Florida.
Yeah. So, and also, but he's originally from Canada, so we got a thumb sideways now. What about you, JC?
I kind of feel the same. It's one of those albums. I'm not going to say it's terrible, but it's just more forgettable and probably something I don't plan on listening to again. I thought maybe the first few songs were okay. I got a lot of Collective Soul vibes. I thought like the first few songs, maybe the first four, or probably the first four songs kind of sounded like a little cohesive. They kind of sounded like they weren't really trying too hard. But then as I get towards the end of the album, I hear them going in so many different directions, either trying to be Marilyn Manson or any kind of other new metal. I'm writing like in my notes all these different bands. I have like Oasis, Radiohead, Stone Temple Pilots, Muse, and these are like all these like the things I thought of that they were trying to be on that second half of the album. So for that reason, it's generic, it's forgettable, it's probably something I won't listen to. And I mean, I only listened to it just for the episode, but I guess it'll go, I don't know, it's almost a down, but I'll go sideways just because, I mean, there's like it's not like horrible enough for a down. So it's a sideways here.
The side. So
Yeah.
So interesting fact. Jason Newsted never toured with this band because after I think he got an injured and they got someone else. So I don't know. I think that's good for Jason. He didn't have to tour with this band. I think Jason Newsted was too good for this band. And just when you thought that putting your bass tone at off, and Justice for All was the worst thing that happened to Jason Newsted, then came Star Supernova and said, "Hold my beer."
No, the worst thing that happened to Jason Newsted was the way that Metallica was bullying him.
And justice for Jason. Hashtag that in the freaking comment section below.
Yes.
They just gave him wasabi, man. Yes, and James Hetfield has said a lot that he regrets how they treated him.
Yeah,
And
I think they made up now because like Jason Newsted performed at some like Metallica anniversary shows.
yeah,
Correct. Yeah. When they got inducted, I think he came to that one.
yeah, I think so too. But yeah, this album is, I wouldn't say it's not. We've heard worse stuff on this program, but it's a very forgettable record. It's and like Chili said, no one is running to play Star Supernova, and I also I don't think Lucas Rossi is that great of a singer, to be honest.
No.
So, it's funny because this is if you've seen the interview, the dude did a cover of an Adele song, and on the interview he said that his cover was better than Adele, and I was like, oh my god,
no.
I know, and I was like looking at him like, are you serious, dude? Like like he did
He must have really been high when he said that.
Well, he said cocaine 3 times, and magically it cleared up his nostrils.
He's I don't know if Couchers, if you haven't seen that interview, I urge to watch because it's one of the weirdest interviews I've done on this channel. It was very bizarre. So
it was a very odd one. I had to tune out as soon as he said this is not a paid interview, and I'm like, you fucking asshole! Why do you have to bring that up? Like, Christ, just say nah. I don't have any stories. Move on. Like, come on.
I have a confession today. When he said that in my brain said, "Is it that
bad?" What was his price tag? Did he even give you what the price tag was to get these stories?
Yeah, I don't give me
$10 to his PayPal, his Venmo, whatever.
Yeah, to his. And if you see that interview, and then then there's a part that he says after that, oh, let's talk about my music. And I asked him about what he's coming up, and he couldn't describe his own fucking music. He asked his wife.
My wife remembers stuff.
Drugs are bad.
And that's when when I was doing that interview, I was doing the interview thinking, oh my God, I gotta do one. Is it that bad?
Yeah.
So maybe this is my revenge episode. I don't know. But
he's venting, everyone. You're on the couch with Dr. Phil here. And how did that make you feel?
Yes.
That's a good accent.
Yeah. Good with for my vote on this record. So I don't think it's a good record, not memorable, but there's some music parts of the music that they're competent. So it's a fun sideways, almost leaning to down.
Yeah.
So we got 3 fun sideways, thumbs down. So the album is slightly saved, but it's saved. It's like saved in the most depressing ways. I don't think none of us are returning to listen to this album.
I think it has like the trash can like over its head.
Over its head, yeah. So I want to know from you, Couchers, what do you think of Star Supernova? And there's gonna be a lot of comments that's like, ooh, like because I don't.
Justified as well.
I'm like, I think I'm the only person who remembered Headspin.
Lucas was on so many drugs that even he doesn't remember that one.
That's why he wrote it. He's like, I have a new song, and they're like, but you already wrote this. But this is.
It came to me in a dream. Dude, that's a song you wrote 20 years ago.
I was cleaning, and it came to me. So.
You spin my head right now.
That's a better head spinning song.
Yes.
Yeah. So I want to know from you, Couchers, what would you vote this record? Thumbs up, sideways, or down? Comment down below which tracks to you are the worst on this record. And if you watch the show, comment if you what do you think of the show. So I want to thank my panel for being a good sport and listening to this record that I don't think a lot of people remembered. So, Chile, thank you for listening to this one and doing your research. So, Chile, what have you coming up next on your channel, man?
Yeah, you guys can check out my channel in regards to some retro reviews that are out. I'm currently the only one on this panel who covered Killing Is My Business, and my business is good. So, yeah, we do retro reviews, 5-minute reviews. There is some things I am working on at the moment that I just don't want to give away just yet, but I will say the title of is The World's Most Dangerous Band, Moments in Music. So that's what I'm currently working on the script for right now.
So if you like, and man, when are we doing a live listening race? It feels like forever.
I'm overdue. I have been meaning to reach out to you guys and say, hey, we should do another live listener race. I haven't done that in a long time. So yes, that's in the pipelines too.
I think we haven't
gotta
done one
reach out.
since 2024.
I'd believe that. I've been pretty slack.
Maybe we could do a listening race only of Lucas Rossi. No,
We could do a special episode where we select albums that were on Is It That Bad prior, and just we only have all of them to pick.
You know what? No, it was definitely in 2024 because we did it right after the From Zero by Linkin Park episode.
yeah.
Yes.
That's a good idea. Taking like all the albums that we cover for Isn't That Bad and just randomly. Yeah, that's a good idea. So Rock of All Ages, his channel is like a podcast, and he loves the Pretty Reckless.
Yes.
If you haven't known. So what have you coming up next, man?
So I just started a new series on my channel about like more chart data stuff. And then coming up in July, I have like another short series about like going back to the 80s. I'm a little bit excited for that one.
Cocaine.
Yeah.
if you see it, so yeah, that should be interesting. And finally, JC Rock and Metal reviews. If you see his channel for this week, he did a great like analysis of Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill. That was a good one, man.
Yeah, thanks. I like making that one. I think that's a really good album. I have fun doing a lot of retro reviews. I have a feeling that mine are going to coincide a lot with Chile because
I think I'm going to get you on to do a retro review with me.
No, because I make a calendar every month of all the anniversaries, and I think he does the same thing. So that's why we put out the same video a lot of times. And it might happen again. I kind of have a feeling from what he just said. But other than that, I try to do new album reviews every weekend of the new metal stuff. There was I'm going to do one this weekend. I'm not really sure which one, but I'm thinking of a couple bands. What's that band, Kala? Or that came out this weekend? Maybe that one, or something else. But anyway, that's what. And also my second channel, I try to just basically pick either a random CD or vinyl from my record and just do another review of it. So I keep busy. I try to like put videos out. That's why I made a second channel. This way I can kind of spread them out over two. Yeah.
So, man, so subscribe to both of JC's channels. So if you're watching this episode this weekend, since it's Father's Day, I got 2 Is It That Bad?
Yay.
So it's on Saturday, we did the Genesis Abacab album, Is It That Bad? With notes reviews, Lorenzo the Professor, and another friend of mine called Pepe Pesante, who was Señorita Sabrosura's boss at Hot Topic, and he had a radio station in Puerto Rico, so he's a prog guy. So that's a very interesting episode.
And there's no reply at all.
Yeah, that's a good one. But that's a weird. I think there was some cocaine on that album as well.
There was definitely some
Phil
cocaine.
Collins and cocaine in the 80s, as if.
Who knew? And coming up next for Is It That Bad? So we are doing next weekend another episode of the Almighty Four. Decided to do an album of covers. And after that, we have Is It That Bad for the New Hinder? I have Is It That Bad for Tupac Sherry? And finally, after that, we'll have an Is It That Bad for the latest for Arcade Fire. So those are the next episodes spread out. But yeah, like Couchers, comment down below what other albums do you want me to cover for the future. Comment down below so we can get more ideas. So until next time, Couchers, this is Hector, the Shield Goat on a Couch, and we'll see you on another episode of Is It That Bad? Thank you and goodbye.